absolute delight to see the room so full and to see people who've come across the country to be in Parliament this evening during Refugee Week, because we all believe in community sponsorship. And we come together this evening on a great day for community sponsorship, because yesterday, finally, after a little bit of delay and a little bit of anxiety about what would happen, the government have confirmed their commitment to renew and refresh and continue the community sponsorship scheme. And even better than that, they have made a commitment that the refugees who are able to come to the UK because communities are making that happen will be in addition to the government's own target and responsibility to welcome refugees through the local authority route. And that's really good news. It's something that we have been arguing for a long time, that the will and the passion and the desire of communities to welcome individual families doesn't let the government off the hook from its responsibility to be as welcoming as possible and to step up to the plate as one of the wealthiest countries in the world in the face of the biggest refugee crisis globally since the Second World War. So it's a really good day to come together in the light of that good news to celebrate community sponsorship. I just wanted to say, for those of you who haven't been to an event like this before and haven't heard me talk about my journey with community sponsorship, a little tiny word about that before I hand over to Ali, who is going to chair the rest of the evening. So I was approached probably a little bit more than 18 months ago by Eva, in fact, who is over there at the back, who came along to my surgery just shortly after I'd met with another local resident called Harriet, who I don't think is here, who were both saying, we want to do this thing, we want to raise the money and get together the support that we need to welcome a refugee family to live in Herne Hill. Will you support us? And I said, yes, of course I'll support you, but I was also a little bit worried about some of the hurdles that needed to be reached. So I was in particular worried about how we would get housing for a refugee family in an area of London which in which there isn't enough housing and in which housing is very, very expensive. So we went on that journey together, and it was an absolute privilege for me to be part of it, not to do lots and lots of work, I didn't do that, but I supported where I could. And the wonderful thing about seeing Herne Hill welcomes refugees, and then Peckham sponsors refugees as well, and the Welcome Committee in Lambeth and lots of local groups coming together to sponsor a refugee family, has been to see how at every stage along the way more and more and more and more local residents have wanted to get involved. More and more residents have wanted to feel that they are doing something to help with this global refugee crisis. And so actually in the end, Herne Hill Welcomes Refugees met their targets very, I wouldn't say easily, there was a lot of hard work, but they met them. And in particular with regard to housing, we found not one, not two, but 3 homes that members of our community made available to house a refugee family. And I think the other two have been able to be used, both of them, by other refugee sponsorship groups. So the generosity that was there has been overwhelming. More important than that, the relationships that have been built now with the families who have come are just lovely to see. And if I take one message from refugee sponsorship that I want, community sponsorship, that I want everybody to understand, it's that when there is a welcome, when a community says, yes, we can make a little bit more space for somebody who desperately needs that, absolutely everybody is blessed by that experience. It is a mutual exchange of ideas, of love, of culture, of perspectives that means that everybody benefits.